this is Ryan of Happy Healthy Vegan, and I want to give a big shout out to Peter, my moderator. Thank you for forwarding me another person to talk about here on YouTube. It's another raw fruitarian type person, and his name is Jeff Juices. And if Jeff were just peacefully juicing away and water fasting as he's doing on his channel, I wouldn't care. He's free to do it. It's a free country. I wouldn't be making a response video. The reason why I'm making this video is to call out the misinformation that he's totally just spreading without any evidence to support his claims. I mean, he'll say something as if it's fact, when in reality it's just either his opinion or some piece of raw propaganda that's been passed down over the decades. And the problem with misinformation of this kind, as we'll see, is that some of it could lead to some really dangerous health outcomes, even death. So let's jump right in.
How many hospitals do you see full of sick and dying fruitarians? None, because it doesn't exist.
Right, so much wrong there. Let's just start with the fact that there's not many fruitarians compared to the general human population. So it would stand to reason you're not going to see too many fruitarians in the hospital. Secondly, and I'm going to state when I make an opinion versus an empirically verifiable claim, the fruitarians don't do this, but in my estimation, fruitarians tend to skew on the younger side. The gurus tend to be a little older, and the followers tend to be younger, as evidenced from my attendance of the Woodstock Fruit Festival about a decade ago. They're pretty much a lot of young people, so it would stand to reason it'd probably be a few decades before any of them developed conditions that would land them in the hospital. However, with that being said, I remember a few months after I got back from that fruit festival, a couple of the pioneers, the people that run the event, ended up in the hospital. And I'm not saying this to call them out and say they're bad people. I remember Dan the Man, Life Regenerator, ended up going to the hospital for some infection he got. And then a little bit after that, Ann Osborne ended up in the hospital because she was eating too much oranges. I mean, she's a fruitarian, and all she would eat for a long period of time were oranges, and she ended up in the hospital because of that. But maybe I'm misunderstanding Jeff's juices. Is he saying if you eat this raw fruitarian diet full of juices, you won't go to the hospital because you can't get sick?
Drink this green juice recipe every day to help your body heal from any disease. It's going to have cucumber.
Yeah, that's what he's saying. If you drink his special juice there, it will cure any disease known to man. Huh, where did I hear this complete nonsense from a raw fruitarian before?
The 3 reasons why raw food truly does reverse and heal and eliminate all disease.
I mean, all diseases?
All disease.
This is just complete bullshit. I don't know how else to put it. You have absolutely zero evidence to support your claims. I mean, your evidence might be some anecdotal stories and stuff like that. Anyone can give anecdotal stories. Carnivore people do it all the time. But that doesn't constitute evidence, unless your standard for evidence is just believing crap people say on the internet. Bottom line is, there's thousands of diseases out there, and your claim is that drinking this juice stuff or whatever is going to cure every single last one of them? Complete bullshit.
If you don't want to become another statistic of chronic disease, all jacked up on pharmaceutical products.
No, I don't, and I'm 57 years old, so please tell me what I need to do, even though I'm already not on pharmaceutical products.
Eat more fruit and less of everything else.
Anyway, I clicked below his video where it said read more. It said fruitarians are not dying in hospitals of chronic disease. You don't know that. Meat and processed food eaters, period. That's not a complete sentence. We have an epidemic of the underconsumption of fruit. Yeah, fruitarian propaganda talking point. But here's the part that got me. He's making some just outrageous claims here, saying if you have a tumor, don't go see a doctor. If you want to see a tumor shrink, go on an all-fruit diet. Again, let me just call out the obvious here in case you missed it. He's giving medical advice here, saying if you have a dangerous medical condition like tumor growth, just drink my juice thing. Don't bother seeing a doctor. And if you think I'm taking him out of context, check out this other video of his I found regarding cancer.
If I were to get cancer or to be diagnosed with cancer right now, which that would be impossible because you cannot get cancer if your body's healthy.
Again, you don't know that. There's no science whatsoever that says if your body's healthy, you can't get cancer. You're just making stuff up. This is easy to fact check. Like, does eating fruit help reduce your risk of cancer or help treat cancer? Yes, those things are evidence-based. Those things are true, but nowhere in here does it say, yeah, if you're eating all fruit or drinking this special juice stuff, you're good. You'll never get cancer. It's 100% impossible. In truth, the actual scientific consensus seems to be saying that there is no such thing as zero risk. Even if you're a low-risk person, as Jeff self-perceives himself, there's still no such thing as zero chance of getting cancer. And unlike these outrageous opinions from fruitarians, the scientific consensus also states that there is no single food or food group that assures you that you will never get cancer. And unfortunately, it's very common amongst fruitarian crowd to be science deniers, actually doctor bashers. You don't trust doctors, they're just going to prescribe you drugs and they don't give a crap about your health, they're not trained. And instead, they want you to believe people like him with no medical training, no research background saying crap like this.
If I were to get cancer or to be diagnosed with cancer right now, which that would be impossible because you cannot get cancer if your body's healthy. If I knew what I know now and I were to have gone back 10 years, 20 years, I would immediately go into a water fast for as long as my body could.
So yeah, this is why I'm making this video, because of advice like this. Yeah, if you find yourself with some very dangerous, life-threatening disease like cancer, no, don't seek out the advice of, say, an oncologist. No, they don't know what's up. They're stupid. No, listen to us fruitarians. We're the ones that have it all figured out. That being said, there actually is a tiny bit of truth to what he said about being in a fasted state and having some positive benefits for cancer. For example, there's this 2022 study titled Effect of Fasting on Cancer, and they say that we lack an integrated mechanistic model for how these two complicated systems interact, that's fasting and cancer, limiting our ability to understand, prevent, and treat cancer using fasting. So what the author's studies actually recommend is combining both. We recommend combining prolonged periodic fasting with a standard conventional therapeutic approach. And likewise, this article from Cedars-Sinai just published this year. Researchers look to fasting as a next step in cancer treatment, and they say now scientists and clinicians at Cedars-Sinai are exploring whether fasting diets in conjunction with conventional cancer treatment can help stall disease progression. So yes, there's evidence saying that fasting in conjunction with cancer treatment seems to be a great combination, but nowhere in here do any of these scientists or researchers say, just toss out the treatment. Just eat a bunch of fruit, just drink that weird Jeff's juice stuff, that'll get it done. And that's the dangerous advice is given here. Like I said, this is advice that's so bad that it could potentially kill someone.
You will most likely, if you fast long enough and with the appropriate amount of water, you can eliminate and heal a deficiency. Almost all deficiencies besides electrolytes will heal on a water-only fast.
All right, so we'll get to some of his claims here in a second, but let's just highlight for a moment his extreme confidence in fasting to cure any and all internal ailments you have. I mean, fasting will get it done. He seems 100% confident and nothing could change his point of view. Well, this is a good point to highlight how when I went to Woodstock Fruit Festival a few years back, there was another pioneer who I haven't mentioned yet who ended up in the hospital, Dr. Robert Lockhart. In fact, he had such extreme zany views on fasting that he ended up killing himself because of what he did to himself. I was surprised to see that this thread is still up in this raw food forum, but basically he was so convinced that he could obtain all the water he needs, not from drinking water, but from all the fruit he's eating. You know, he's a fruitarian, so he stopped drinking water, or at least significantly decreased his water intake. And as a result, he picked up a chest infection, and ultimately he got so ill he had to be reluctantly taken to the hospital for treatment as he was on the verge of complete kidney failure and a cardiac arrest at home. All right, so before anyone criticizes me here, I'm not saying that Jeff is telling his followers to do dry fasting like what Robert Lockhart was saying. Thank heavens, you know, I'm glad he's not. However, I brought this example up because I think there's something we can be learned. They both have some common traits there. First of all, they're both extremely 100% confident in the certainty of the effectiveness of fasting to cure whatever inner ailments their bodies may have. Secondly, none of this confidence is based on science. There's no data, there's no scientific studies to show that any of the stuff they're doing actually works. Ultimately, whether they want to admit it to you guys or not, that they're in fact doing self-experiments. And that's pretty dangerous if you can end up killing yourself from a self-experiment. And it's not too surprising once I dig deeper into Jeff's videos that all this fasting and juice stuff is not the only pseudoscience that he believes in and promotes. Pseudoscience like mucoid plaque. And in case you've never heard of mucoid plaque, I've seen raw fruitarians using this term all the time, even at me saying I'm developing mucoid plaque because of this evil cooked food I'm eating. But when you dig a little deeper, you'll see it's completely pseudoscience and that there is currently no evidence to suggest that mucoid plaques exist.
You will most likely, if you fast long enough and with the appropriate amount of water, you can eliminate and heal a deficiency.
All right, I told you I'd come back and explore this claim because it's so outrageous. So you guys heard this. If you ever get your blood checked and your doctor tells you that you're low in a particular nutrient, in my case, my vitamin D was a little low last time, so just tell your doctor, hey, I got it covered. I'm just going to fast because Jeff Juices says
almost all deficiencies besides electrolytes will heal on a water-only fast.
Obviously, Jeff, we're going to need some kind of citation for that one as well.
But most people don't really know what healthy food is. And so they grow up eating a bunch of crap that wasn't really designed to be in their body. That's processed, that's cooked, that's dehydrated, that's dry. And so they get fat, they get diseased.
Again, complete BS, no scientific evidence to support that. And speaking of myself, anecdotally, like I said, I'm 57, I'm not on any medication yet. I'm eating some cooked food and dried food like raisins and rice and grains and legumes, stuff like that. I'm not fat, I'm not sick and all this stuff. Look at my blood labs, Jeff. I'll put them up here for you to check out. I've been putting them out here the entire time since I started our YouTube channel back in 2010. Not sick, not deficient. How long is it going to take for this stuff to kick in, Jeff? Because I've been hearing it from all sides. Raw fruitarians, meat eaters, that I'm going to be sick and dead, and I'm still kicking ass at age 57. But hey, I'm just a guy like Jeff. Don't take my anecdotal story as gospel, and don't take his as well. In fact, let's look at what the opinions of not idiots like me and him are saying. Let's look at what, say, organizations of health professionals are saying about eating a balanced, cooked food, included vegan diet, and are we going to get sick and die and fat and all this stuff? No, it says that well-planned vegan diets are nutritionally adequate for all people in all stages of life.
They get high blood pressure and cholesterol. Their arteries get clogged.
Anecdotally, nope, you're wrong once again, Jeff. I'll link to my video where I recently got a calcium artery scan done and my score was 0, which is a really good score if you're in your mid-50s like I am. If you're 35, 40 and you get a 0, the doctor said, that's normal. That doesn't really say anything. But being my age with a score of 0 shows that how I'm eating is actually working out for me.
They get constipated with brain fog.
Constipated with brain fog? Aren't those two different sides of the body? But once again, got neither of those, bro.
They wake up and they're not feeling amazing every single morning.
Well, if you too want to feel amazing every morning, just head over to his website and you can talk to Jeff for an hour and a half for $169 to get on the 1-month plan for $600 or the 3-month plan for $1,500. And you'll learn everything you need to know about eating fruit and drinking juice. Wow, guys, I must be doing it totally wrong. Like, no one pays me $169 an hour to talk about how to eat like rice and grains and potatoes and fruit and vegetables, but that's not why I do this. I'm not trying to get rich off spreading a message about veganism, because that's what veganism is. It's not about diet and fruitarian. If you're truly in it for the animals, that's what veganism is. You don't need to do all this weird, extreme, restrictive ways of eating. Just eat a healthy, balanced, sensible vegan diet. And before I go, I want to make it clear to any fruitarians who might be watching thinking I'm anti-fruitarian, this is an attack video on their religion or something like that. No, I'm against the spread of misinformation. Sometimes that comes from carnivore people. Sometimes it comes from guys like Joe Rogan or whatever. So whenever I see misinformation and it relates to vegan diets, I'll pop in probably and respond. So if it's working out for you, you feel good on it, keep doing you. I'm not telling you to stop. Leave your questions and comments down below. Hit like, share this video, and until next time, remember, it doesn't suck being vegan.